3 movies down where we snuff out his greed. Only 1 film left till he's rapping about weed. Leprechaun 4 in Space tells the story of the green little monster who is trying to secure an alien princess as his bride so that he can become king. King of what? I have no fucking idea. Welcome back to the Leprechaun review series, everybody, and now we are at chapter 4, the In Space chapter, the dreaded futuristic in space chapter that has kind of become a joke at this point with movies like Jason X and others. That's when you get desperate, you send them to space. Fast and Furious, buckle up if you ever get there. But once again, I really have no recollection of this movie whatsoever. I really have only ever had recollection of the first film and a couple of lines from Leprechaun in the Hood, but for all intents and purposes, with the exception of a couple of visuals in my mind, this was another fresh watch that I have not seen this film since I was at least, 9, 10 years old. And wow, this was rough. First, let me start off by telling you that if you have not seen the previous 3 reviews in this franchise, be sure to hit the subscribe button and go and check out my review for Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3. And also, if you hit the subscribe button, you can follow us along on this journey through St. Patty's Month as we talk about the rest of this franchise and end on an epic Jolly Green ranking here in a couple of days. Now, as far as Leprechaun 4 in Space, we're just gonna skip the positive column altogether and go straight to the mixed. Overall, the most positive thing that I can say about this film is that they throw everything at the wall, and I do mean everything. Now, on one hand, I admire that because if you have a weird little B-movie, crazy, zany franchise that is never going to be above a certain level of quality like this franchise, you might as well just throw a bunch of crazy ideas at the wall because this character works. It never feels out of place that the Leprechaun is in this setting, in space, messing around with alien princesses, shooting phasers, carrying around a fucking lightsaber. It just works. You can't do that with any other slasher villain but the Leprechaun. So I appreciate that approach of just go balls out crazy. Unfortunately, the dark side of that coin is that when you throw everything at the wall, a lot of shit is going to slide off. Very few things are going to stick. And my God, are very few things in this movie sticking. Here we go! One of the weirdest versions of the future of space, of the, not so distant, really distant future that I've ever seen in my life. I mean, for the point where you have androids, you have alien princesses, there's this whole coalition, and there's, Marines sent out that is fully aware of these alien princesses and her king and her father left back on her planet that we just get hints of. There's doctors that are, from here up to the head human. The rest of it is all just computer parts and his heart's in a fucking jar. And wow, this is a strange ass version of the future. And to me, it was not in a fun way. It was a what the fuck am I watching way. And one of the first things to go when you start going big about future and space is that you have to use a lot of computer generated effects, and holy Christ on a cracker, the CGI in this movie is embarrassingly bad. And unfortunately, it tries to walk that line of so bad that it's good, and it just does not have the success that Leprechaun 3 had. It's just bad. You can have really cheesy, shitty, garbage, horribly aged effects in a movie that's so bad that it's good, and you can appreciate it as just one more element of the movie that is so bad that it's good. Leprechaun 4 is just horrendous. There's literally an effect where the Leprechaun is on a green screen and they try to blow him up into a larger scale Leprechaun. And as he gets bigger, the quality of him just degrades down to like old school Betamax VHS tape type shit, to where like you have a fully rendered background with people walking around that's right there, and he's getting bigger and just going backwards in time and quality. And it's like, whoa, did you shoot this shit on a little throwaway Polaroid film or something? Because there's no reason why blowing him up in a picture should make his quality go down that bad. Any image they show in space of these ships is god awful. I mean, it's worse than the most low budget little sci-fi kids TV show that you can think of. They got more money than Leprechaun 4 in space. And even some of the physical practical effects, like there's this blood, guts, webbing type effect that they go for in the third act of the film where a character is supposed to be covered in entrails or covered in webbing or something, and it literally just looks like plaster webbing that's not even really, like, it's too stiff to even like mold around his shoulders, and it's just sitting there flopping the whole time that he's walking around. And you're like, dude, you could pull that shit off. That's horrible. Horrible. Really doesn't do any favors to this movie that the biggest and easiest comparison that you can make to another film that you know and love is Aliens, because you have a group of Marines coming in to take out the bad guy, and they're all trying to be macho and have these crazy little caricature personalities. And when you immediately think of one of the greatest sci-fi action horror films of all time, and you have this as your base comparison while you're watching it, wow, did you fuck yourself? Because everything looks so much worse as soon as you have that in your head. And the characters in this movie are just an embarrassment. I mean, you have these Marine characters, and it's like the most forced tough guy, tough chick personalities to where none of them really stand out at all. You might recognize one or two actors from previous things, and that's the only thing that makes them stand out. Otherwise, they all bleed together. You've got one guy who's like the stereotypical sergeant or the commander where everything he says is like this. We gotta go. I gotta go take a shit. I'll be back. Fuck. And then you get into the scientists, and they're even weirder. I mean, you got like the assistant guy who's basically like a B-movie version of Smithers from The Simpsons. And then you get the doctor guy, this Zordon-looking motherfucker walking around all day and, you know, following him around with these little TV screens. And he's always got this face. He's just watching him in the background, not saying shit like a creeper. And then as soon as they like get done with their scenes, he's like, I saw everything that you just did. What are you doing? We have pressing matters. And what they decide to do with this fucking guy, turning him into like this lobster slash spider slash scorpion looking fucking thing that's like your secondary monster at the end. What the fuck? Like, okay, throw everything at the wall. Monsters, spiders, leprechauns, lightsabers, alien princesses. Fuck yeah, keep going. And finally, I will wrap up my review of Leprechaun 4 in Space with a gigantic, heartfelt apology to Nightmare on Elm Street 4 Dream Master. Because for years now, I have made serious fun of Freddy's resurrection. It was even part of my intro that I was poking fun of in that review. That Freddy, in his legacy, has a movie where he is resurrected by a dog's piss. Well, that's nothing compared to the Leprechaun being resurrected by swimming up a guy's piss and then exploding out of the front of his cock.
Let that be a lesson to you, lad. Always wear a prophylactic.
So to Robert Englund, to Rennie Harlan, to Bob Shea, to everybody involved with the production of Nightmare on Elm Street 4 The Dream Master, my heartfelt apologies. That was actually way better than what I experienced in this fucking movie. So overall, guys, yeah, I did not enjoy this at all. I could understand, like, if somebody tells me that they have some really guilty pleasure fun with this, I get it. I mean, there's just different strokes for different folks, but this movie from beginning to end was just so bafflingly weird and just so jarring for all of the things that it throws in a mile a minute that I had a headache the whole time watching it. I'm just like, it makes total sense that the Leprechaun's in this setting, but I am not enjoying this one bit. This is a gigantic steaming pile of shit. So if you're a fan of the Leprechaun movies and you want to continue down his crazy little journey to get his gold back, now you're following him to space, baby, so buckle up. But for everybody else, if you are not a fanatic, and I stress fanatic of this franchise, avoid this at all costs because fuck this movie. So what do you guys think? Are you a fan of Leprechaun 4 in Space? Did you grow up with this? Do you have nostalgia for this? Did you just watch this for the first time and think, what the fuck was that? Let me know where on that spectrum you fall with Leprechaun 4 in Space. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, please, so you can check out the rest of this review series tomorrow. noon Eastern, you will get my review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Has nothing to do with the Leprechaun franchise, but huge release that I got to see early, so subscribe for that if you want to check out that craziness. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you next time, and as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean that you have to be.